Welcome, Megan. We are so excited to have you as part of the Self-Care Summit 2020. You will be joining us for both yoga sessions as well as speaker series. Tell me a little bit more about your background.
Absolutely. I just wanted to say that I am so excited to be a part of this Self-Care Summit. This is absolutely what everyone in the world needs right now, especially coming out of COVID and then now moving into the racial injustice communication that's opened up. So it is absolutely divine timing that we are presenting this and you are bringing this together for us. My background began in the very physical aspect of the world. I was a classical ballet dancer. I transitioned into yoga when I was 24, completing my 200-hour yoga teacher training in vinyasa. Still a very physical practice. I went into personal training, group fitness. I went to do a master's in fine arts and dance, ended up transferring, doing a master's of science in applied health physiology. I was really interested in the body moving in space. And after I finished my master's degree, I traveled to Bali to complete my 300-hour advanced yoga teacher training. And that was heavily based in meditation. It was a tantric hatha style training, and a few months before I went to that training, I lost my father. And within that training, I was immediately able to connect with his energy in the other dimension through meditation. So it was, like I say a lot, divine timing. Actually, his transition into the other world was just shown to me to be as assistance to me to step into this role as a healer. So he is very much guiding me on the other side. So moving more from the physical world into the spiritual world with that training. After I came back from Bali, my physical practice, my teaching style transitioned to really heavily focus on the connection with your breath and allowing the breath to be your guide for life, because like we say in yoga, it's your vital force, it's your prana, it's literally your life. If you think about it, when you're born, you come out of the womb, you take your first breath, you're here. When you take your last exhale, you transition into the other space, the other dimensions. So if you can just come to the awareness that your breath is actually your life, then you can start to maybe not neglect it and really hold it as a strong indicator of how well you're functioning in life. So after I did that training, I started to seek out more different styles of energy work. Thai massage, Reiki, sound healing became a very big part of my life, as well as breath work. This was incremental in my healing journey. And then I went to Guatemala last year to complete my 100-hour sound ceremony training. And ever since then, I've dived deep into the world of sound healing, sound ceremony, sound facilitation. And it has unlocked literally other dimensions of this world, other dimensions of my mind, other dimensions of possibilities of this lifetime for me, as well as it really provides me a clear channel to help my clients and help my students to work through deeply imprinted emotional trauma. I equate it as an emotional massage. We go to like a massage therapist for a physical massage, but how do we massage like the emotional pain, the emotional energy that gets stuck inside of us, and not to mention that is carried on from past lives or generationally. So yeah, it's just been a very rapid, within the past year, evolution from the physical world into the spiritual. And yeah, so that's a little bit of my background, and that those are all the types of modalities that I use with myself to continually heal and progress, and that I offer in sessions with my clients and my students in classes.
That sounds like such an epic journey, and I really wish we had more time to get into that. but trying to stay on point. We are talking about the Self-Care Summit. What are some of the obstacles you have experienced for your own self-care?
I think the biggest obstacle for myself for self-care is coming to the awareness that self-care is not selfish, that is actually the most selfless thing that you can do. And in a society that is bred upon making everyone else comfortable, what can I do to help you? How can I serve you? What can I do for you? It seems almost selfish to then say, well, what about me? But very recently, within the past 6 months, I've really kind of flipped the entire script on that, knowing that if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of my clients, I can't take care of my family, I can't even, I can't take care of myself. So realizing that self-care is actually a necessity, it is my number one priority, and unless I actively take steps or do at least some of my self-care routine every single day, I'm not like, everything else can wait. Everything else can wait now. And I've come to the realization that saying no is the most selfless thing that you can do, because taking care of myself, I know that I can just serve people that much more more stronger or just more clear.
Well, one thing I used to say from a leadership or hospitality leadership position was you can't pour from an empty cup. Being on the front lines of customer service, trying to get my associates to take a break and have a bite to eat and walk away, I completely understand. It sounds like you have a lot more attunement and awareness than most of us, but given your practice, what are you seeing as obstacles for your clients in their self-care?
I would say that, which is true with most things in life, that you attract the things that are very similar in you, or you are a direct mirror of what you see in the world. So a lot of my clients struggle with putting themselves as a priority, of actually sticking to their self-care routine and figuring out what it is that they want to do. Because along with serving other people, that cuts you off from having this connection with your intuition and asking yourself, well, what is it do I actually need? And then you were saying you can't pour from an empty cup. And I also say you can't pour into a full cup. So we get to this space where, oh my gosh, I'm going to develop this self-care routine. And then you like create this master plan and you have all of these things, and then you get overwhelmed and you're frozen with, oh my God, I don't have enough time to do all of this stuff. And so what I say, and a lot of people are calling it a toolbox, is I have this toolbox and it's almost like a makeup caboodle. You open your makeup caboodle and you're like, well, you can't put all of the colors on, right? So you decide, well, what color do I want to wear today? Well, that necessitates what wardrobe that I'm going to wear. So it's the same thing with your self-care routine. You wake up and you ask yourself, okay, what do I need to do today? Do I need to sleep in? Do I need to do exercise because I've been laying in bed for the past 3 days? Do I need to meditate because my mind is all over the place? Do I need to sing? Do I need, asking yourself, really tapping in and seeing like, okay, what color is going to go with me today? Not just like going to your standard. Well, we all have our standard makeup routine, right? And then sometimes we switch it up and we're like, oh, we're refreshed. It's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing with your self-care. It's like, oh, well, I haven't done that in a while. That feels great.
I think that is all triggering with how I started my day. And thank you so much for that imagery. I use the toolbox metaphor more for conflict resolution and conflict situations. So to use the same concept in a self-care way, much more forgiving to how I started my day today. And thank you so much for that gift right now.
Yeah. Well, it is, like we create these things that we think are going to help us and reduce stress. And because we use our analytical minds to create these processes, we just create this ball of stress because we try to make it this big mountain, and it's like, no, just like simplicity is the key to happiness. What's one thing I tell my clients, what is one thing that you've already done today or that you can do right now that is going to elicit a change in your emotional state to hopefully be more positive? And that'll help them reduce their stress, reduce their anxiety, and also elicit a positive emotional change. And I do that with myself too.
Yeah, that's incredibly valuable. I think what was triggering was the master plan, because that is very much my default. I'm great with master plans, and we all know that they never work out just right. So I appreciate the reframing immensely. What is your favorite self-care wins, either for yourself or one of your clients?
One of my favorite self-care wins, I'll start with my client. So I hosted a 2-week online Journey to Clarity retreat back in April. It seems so long ago, but right like in the midst of COVID. And one of the clients that was in that retreat, I went to undergraduate with her in South Carolina. We danced together. And she had, reached out to me over the years. She'd really struggled with anxiety and depression. And she was looking to create a morning self-care routine that she was going to stick to. So because the retreat was 2 weeks long and we were starting every day with a guided meditation, she was there every morning. I was there to hold her accountable. And then I provided like opportunities to include other type of activities throughout her day. And at the end of the retreat, she wrote me this long letter and was like, I actually created a self-care routine with this retreat and I've stuck to it. And I use the breathing techniques that you were teaching us in the meditations. She has a stepson who has a learning disability. And she's like, I do these breathing exercises with him and they really help him a lot. And I just like have never been this happy in my life. So it was really amazing to see that she was able to make that change very rapidly, and stick to it. And it was because I gave her the space to make it her own. If I had controlled the situation and said, okay, like this is what you need to do every day, but it didn't fluidly fit into her life, even though we were all had free days in COVID, like there was really no like set plan. She was able to take the tidbits of information from the retreat and kind of craft them and fit them into her life. So that was a major win for my client. A major win for myself, I committed to this 5 a.m. challenge back in January when I came home from my Hawaii yoga retreat. And I'm not a morning person, like at all. And I stuck to it for 66 days. And it was, and it takes like a little while. And like the first month, like, let's be honest, I didn't wake up till 6 a.m., but my alarm was going off. By the end of it, like I was waking up 4:30, 5 o'clock, right on the dot, like just, and it was like, oh my gosh, I get to do this. I get to wake up. I get to have 3 hours in the morning all to myself. And I was in Maryland at the time and it was dark. And so I would read and journal until I heard the first bird. And so then I would move into like, I would go outside and walk. I was on my parents' farm, or I would move into my yoga practice or whatever my movement was. And ironically, the day of the end of that 5 a.m. challenge was April the 2nd, which was the first year anniversary of my boyfriend's passing. So it was kind of like, okay, I was struggling really hard in January to, move through this emotional process of losing my boyfriend. And he was there, like, just sending this down to me. And like on the second day of the challenge, I was like, well, I better write in my journal what the last day is. And as soon as I knew that it was April 2nd, it just kind of like clicked in my head, like, okay, like Ryan's on the other side. He's going to help me. Everything's going to be fine. Yeah. So just kind of like finding those synchronicities, finding the things that worked for you, and just having so much compassion and grace for yourself in the process. Knowing that any small step forward is a huge step in your self-care or self-transformation journey, because change is really hard.
I think that's absolutely beautiful, and I appreciate the disclosure. I can't imagine that kind of loss and trying to move through it as swiftly or as gracefully as you have. So, sorry, go ahead.
It's a talent of mine. Ever since I lost my father, it's been like, I lost about 8 family members that year that my dad died. And then, 3 years later, my boyfriend died, which was just a year ago now. And it's like, it's a rapid process for me and it's only because I have communication with them on the other side, because I don't fear death, because I know that life is eternal and we are here to learn lessons, and we're gifted this physical body. So, and that was the only realization that I was able to come to, because I lost the physical life of someone that meant a lot to me. But now it's pretty awesome, because I didn't lose him. He's like always here with me.
It's a beautiful way to frame it. I know that you actually have a client coming up, so I don't want to keep you too long. What are you working on after the Self-Care Summit?
So I was planning to launch a virtual retune. So I had a energy healing, a yoga and sound healing retreat that I was supposed to host in Costa Rica. But because of #COVID, it got postponed. So I decided to move it online. And then the whole world erupted into this racial war. So I postponed it to July 12th through the 18th. So I am in the process of relaunching. It's a 7-day energy healing retreat experience. It's going to be July 12th through the 18th. The kind of mission behind this retreat is to build a community of like-minded people that are really looking to make the big changes in themselves, because we are wanting to make this massive change, a massive shift in our society. So creating that community, providing support for people in their transition, no matter if it's just a personal journey or if it's a spiritual journey. And then to provide not only myself, but all of my clients, all the participants, with tools that they will use every single day of their physical life, and probably ascended life, to really love themselves, to get to the deep-seated root of their fears and insecurities, so that they can unlock their unlimited potential here in this life, to actually go after their dreams, create a life that they love, and be in charge of their life, be the change that they want to see in the world, and be an active creator of their life. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to host that. I have some amazing guest speakers that are coming in. I've actually been able to recruit a lot of women of color and actually men of color to come in and talk about how we can diversify the spiritual side of the conversation, because a lot of people in the spiritual world, even though they are not racial or quote unquote don't see color, well, we see color, we see auras. Us being not progressively anti-racist, or actively creating scenarios where we can progress, like that we can actually create the change. So those are the type of conversations, those are the type of workshops and talks that we'll be having. So I'm really excited to open up that dialogue so that we can start to do the damn thing. Like, it's time.
I agree. Now, where can people register or get more information?
So you can go to my Instagram. It's Hoff Fitness. It's HOEFFITNESS. And you can click the link in my bio. Or you can head to my website, theembodiedwarrior.com, and it'll be all over there.
Great. Well, thank you so much for spending the time with me, Megan. I hope you have a fantastic day, and thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and I cannot wait for the summit.